Why does it seem that when we're ready to journey and go deeply into something, all of our fears, insecurities, doubts seem to arise? Is it because this unknown is triggering all of our weaknesses or issues? Is it because we're afraid of what happens on the other side once we pass those self-imposed borders, boundaries, and limitations? I ask this because people seem to meet resistance the further they go into the abyss of their subconscious mind. They seem to meet that resistance because of what's already in here. Your work should be focused on destroying much of what has been put in there. And if your focus is not on destroying this programming and conditioning, then what are you doing the work for? Are you afraid to see what is unseeable? Are you afraid to face the beast within? Are you afraid to deal with your traumas? It comes a point in time on this left-hand path where fear must be overcome, where all of these things that were just mentioned before must be confronted. And you must gain a foothold over these issues, these traumas, so on and so forth, that have wreaked havoc in your life for a long time. Is it that darkness that makes you hesitate? And what is darkness? Well, they say it's the absence of light. But light does blind. And whoever tells you that is literally trying to blind you. If they tell you opposite, then light blinds. For those who walk the lives, they understand that there is a certain initiation you undergo where you are blinded by the light. When you first are revealed or taken from darkness into light, you literally feel blinded. And that blinding force causes chaos and confusion within. Much of us live in this blinding light and do not even realize that we've been blinded, confused, and made afraid of our home in darkness. Your home is in darkness. You germinated from the darkness. You evolved and were raised in this blinding light. But as you journey back through your rituals, through these different magical traditions and systems within the left-hand path, you start to focus on facing that which you refuse or have refused to face all this time. That is the time you don't walk away. That is the time you face yourself. I hear many excuses from people. I don't have time. I'm working those. I'm doing all. Listen, I know about time. We all have this issue. I run a business. I do Patreon classes. I have to make videos. I have to create rituals. I have a family. I have things that are time consuming and taxing on me. I will not make an excuse for it. If my passion is deeply involved in this, in my personal growth and transformation, I don't make excuses, because that's all they become is excuses. If you really are involved in your personal growth and development, you will go all out to make time. You will go all out to make time. Because after all, time is everything. And your time should be valuable to you, especially towards your development and growth. Are you willing to sacrifice a little bit of sleep for your development to reach self-deification, apotheosis? Apotheosis is not given to you. Many of you all still are programmed to believe that you're still going to receive something because you do rituals, because you walk the left-hand path. That's Christian mentality. That's monotheistic mentality. You're not entitled to receive anything. What you are able to do is go get it, fight for it, and obtain it. Entitlement is the biggest issue that I see from the young generation to even the older generation. We feel like we're entitled to this knowledge, to this wisdom. We're entitled to this gnosis because what? I'm original. Because what? My family has a lineage of witches and sorcerers. That doesn't mean anything. At the end of the day, you have to earn this. You have to earn it by doing the work and facing yourself in the darkness, facing your fears. Entitlement will destroy you at some point in time. You think you're just supposed to what? Receive something for nothing? That's not how it works. Everything that I've obtained, I've had to work for. Every temple I went through, I had to work for. It didn't come to me. It wasn't given to me on a silver platter. I had to work for it, earn it. And you think because what? You're supposed to just give it, receive it freely? That's not how it works. You've been bamboozled to think that knowledge is free. Knowledge has never been free on this planet, never will be free. Sure, you didn't have to do the monetary value of today back then, but you did have to sacrifice something back then. Go do your research. No one ever received this knowledge without being initiated in some form of sacrifice of themselves took place. Earn your keep. Earn the gnosis you receive. Get rid of this entitlement mentality and earn it. Because when you do, it is that much more satisfying, that much more fulfilling. But you're going to have to go into the darkness. There's no way around it. And I don't mean just sit there in the shadows. That's shadows. That's not darkness. See, people confuse the two. Oh, I have the lights off and the candles off, and I'm in darkness. You're in the shadows. Darkness is absence of light. At any point in time in your house, outside in nature, there is some form of light, whether it's a reflection from the moon that's reflecting the sun's light back down to the planet, whether it's a clock on in your room, whether your smartphone, there's always some form of light. Pure darkness is exactly that, absence of light. That's where people are terrified of though, because sensory deprivation starts to occur in pure darkness. You start to rely less on your senses and you awaken. There's an awakening that takes place from a deeper mindset. This primordial mindset kicks in. You start to feel alive. You start to become connected to the vibratory forces of the planet, particularly the death current and the dark energy and matter that permeates everything in existence. That is the journey. The darkness can fulfill you. But you've been taught so much to go into the light that you don't realize the light. There's beings waiting to devour you in the light. This is why they convince you in religion to go into the light. This is why they convince you when you pass, go into the light. That light is a bunch of light beings who are trying to consume you. You're supposed to turn and journey into the darkness. Your home, your original home, that predates this physical form. But there I notice people hesitate because the most grotesque things seem to arise from them. The most perverted things seem to arise from within. The most heinous of thoughts seems to arise from within. The anger, the rage surfaces and bubbles up. And they've been taught to suppress all these things so much that when it hits and it rises up, they get confused. They want to run. They're hesitant. They're like, oh my God, is this supposed to be happening? Yes, in every which way it's supposed to be happening. That is what the work involves. Evolving in darkness is putting away the distractions of the light, distractions of your mind, the conscious mind, the aware mind that usually relies on the light. The subconscious is what awakens in the darkness, where all the reasoning and all the logic dies. And all there is you and self. The true self and the false self. The true self begins to speak louder. It begins to awaken. The false self still tries to wrestle, but the more you're in darkness, it shuts up. It starts to realize I have no real argument here. That is the failure of most humanity. To be so afraid of the dark, to be so afraid of these darker forces, darker beings, dark everything, that you run like cowards. I live in the darkness. I love the darkness. These darker forces, darker gods, darker spirits, darker energies, whatever you want to call them, are like my best friends. They call to me, I call to them. We awaken together and do the work of evolving. That should be your journey. Evolving in the darkness. Put away the entitlement, put away the fears, confront these things and overcome it, and the darkness opens up to you. You start having visions and dreams and things of that nature that are much more profound than this blinding light illusions that we've been bombarded with. This is why people misunderstand the Sith, because the Sith work with the dark side and they understand the power that is in that dark side. The Jedi don't understand it because the Jedi fear the dark side because they feel it corrupts you. Anything can corrupt you. The light or the dark can corrupt you. That is human nature, to be corrupted, to be influenced, to be tempted. That is human nature. Your weaknesses usually give into things that can corrupt you. But if you really understand the power of the darkness, you will not be corrupted. You will evolve within that darkness to be the most powerful being you can be. That's the power of darkness. As a necromancer, we understand the dark. We understand the power the dark has to speak to the spirits, to communicate with the spirits, to hear the spirits, to receive guidance from the spirits, to receive power from the spirits, to tap into that dark matter, dark energy, and sustain life from it. That's what this work is all about. Are you willing to evolve in that darkness? Are you truly willing to evolve in that darkness? Or do you still want to wrestle with the conscious mind? You make up your mind. For those who are willing to really take upon themselves total evolving and transformation, the new year is upon you. For those who want readings, I'm doing readings for the rest of this year to next year, the beginning of next year. If you really want to transform, and you know how many of you do your New Year's resolution, well, stop sitting in the sidelines. Get down with the classes. Hit up Beniti. Check out Michael W. Ford, Thomas Leroy. Check out D.H. Thorne. Check out S.N.F. Mason. Check out all these individuals. Stop sitting on the sidelines. Get involved. Truly do the work from within. Make that your New Year's resolution and stick with it the whole year. We have new classes coming up next year. Left Hand Path, African Magic will be taught next year. Necromancy class is taught now. Still at the beginning stages. You want to get down, get in it. Chromatic vampirism, beginning stages, get in it. Shadow work, I'm starting a new shadow work in December. For those who are lacking in shadow work or want to go further, December is popping. Get involved. Get involved. Evolve in the darkness. Eternal blessings to all.